Good morning, everyone. Thanks for attending this call today, this webinar session. So, I can see there's about 16, 17 of you guys. So, let's start. So, good morning once again, and welcoming you guys for our live webinar topic related to essential enhance for cybersecurity. Right. So, before we dive into our session today, I would like to and talk about a little bit about VLAN Asia. So what we do. So VLAN Asia basically founded in 2003. So mainly for IT support. Then we grow from there. So right now we have like about five products that we carry with us. So we have Microsoft, and then we have Zendesk, HubSpot, and then we have Oracle NetSuite, and we also have acronyms with us. So all these products are related to IT services like Microsoft 365. Obviously, you guys know what Microsoft provides, like its productivity, security, and everything, right? And then we have HubSpot is mainly for marketing and sales, CRM tools such as like that. And then we have Zendesk, mainly our ticketing system, right? And then Oracle NetSuite, it's for financial related, right? So, and then Acronis is more of like backing up your devices and also security baselines, right? So, right. So my name is Kishan. So today I'll be actually sharing quite some useful information, right, on cybersecurity, right? So what are the things you guys have to take note and how you guys can actually enhance your company protection, right? Okay, so yeah, let me just sort that a bit. Okay, all right. So so today our topic is going to be about essential enhance about cybersecurity. So we're gonna look into how cybersecurity can has actually help us in our environment, right? So we will be talking about device management and little bit about AI as well, right? So all right. So our main topics that we're going to cover today is basically focus more on productivity to protection. So all the while we have been emphasizing for users and asking all the companies to use this productivity tool. You know, there's a lot of bunch of productivity tools out there. But then right now we are actually focusing mainly on the protection side, right? So on the protection side, right, we have to dive deep nowadays based on the attacks and also the vulnerability that we have in our productivity tools, right? So today we're going to look into that solution, right? So you can see we're going to move from productivity to protection, why business premium matters. So that's where we're going to talk mainly about. So yeah, let's move on. So what we will cover today, right? So what are the things we'll be covering in today's topic, right? It's mainly about why productivity alone is no longer enough, right? So why we have to look into protection, right? So that is the main topic that we're going to look into today. And then the second part will be we'll be looking at real life cybersecurity attacks that the productivity tool is actually vulnerable to, right? So that from there we will actually look into how we can actually protect ourselves much more um, better with all those real life environment attacks that happening around the world right now. Right. So after that, we will be focusing on how business premium, which is our core topic for today, how premium can actually reduce the risk or the attacks that we have been facing. Right. So, and then we will be looking at cost versus risk. Um, right. So, which are the things that you're gonna look at? Are you looking at the cost or risk? So we'll be looking at those type of reality, right? And the end, we'll be looking at how easy it is to upgrade, right? So because there might be have a lot of questions, that saying that it's really hard for us to upgrade. Maybe it requires a lot of things to be done, install or pre-configured, you have to go through a lot of process, so you don't have time for that process and kind of thing. So we will see what is the process like and how easy it is, right? So these are the topics that we'll be covering today, right? So before I begin with my module, I would like to put a reality check over here. So when I say reality check, right? So what does it mean, right? So I would like to give you guys a reality check over here, like why you guys are in this webinar today, right? So if you are someone that are having hybrid work environment, right? So if you have hybrid work, like some of you might be traveling and working, and then some of you work from home, not everyone in the office, kind of things. That's the first environment. And then the second environment, if let's say the employees have multiple devices. So if you can see right in front of me right now, I'm having two devices with me, right? So one laptop over here, right, just right in front of me, and then another one on the left side, right? And then I also have my mobile phone where I can access my Microsoft Outlook, which is my emails, Teams, and everything, right? So myself alone, minimum I have two devices, like one laptop and then another one is the mobile device. So if let's say you are someone that working from home or you are working hybrid, so you might have one PC at office and then you might have a laptop at home. So you technically already have two, three devices with you, right? Accessing your company data. So that's if that's what you guys are doing, so please stay tuned. So you guys might need to find out what are the vulnerabilities or what are the risks that you guys are facing. Right. So number three is data accessible from anywhere. So yeah, so like I mentioned, if you guys are working from multiple places, then the data is everywhere on the network, right? Not only on your office network, it's in your home network, it's in your, maybe you guys go to Starbucks or McDonald's, right? You connect to your maybe hotspot or the public Wi-Fi. So the data is actually flowing all over the internet, right? Out there, right? And then cyber attack. So cyber attack. So I just want to give you guys a proper understanding here. So many of you might be thinking cyber attacks are mainly for, big enterprise companies, they are the ones mainly targeted or so what and everything. Actually, nowadays, most of the SME companies are being targeted. The main reason is they are really, really vulnerable. Um, to these attacks, right? So with simple clicks, they can be attacked by someone outside. So like enterprise companies, they have been like focusing more on the security part, and they are keep on enhancing their security layers and everything. But then the SME companies, they are just focused on productivity, right? They just want to use the tools and then make the communication easier, do meetings much more easier. So that's the only focus. But then the security layer part is something that most of the SME companies lack, I would say, right? So if you are in this type of environment, right? So this is something that this webinar is for you. So, right. So let's begin, right? So the key message is productivity is no longer enough, right? So let's see what we have in Microsoft to protect ourselves, right? So on module one, so right now, what you guys have with you guys, right? So you might be using Business Basic or you might be using Business Standard license, right? You are not moved to Business Premium yet, right? So if you are in that environment, like for example, Business Basic or Standard license, right? So you guys are using Business Basic. Yep, like I mentioned over there, it's a web-based app, right? Where your emails, Teams, everything is online based, right? Everything in the web base, right? Whereas business standard, you have an desktop application that can be downloaded, right? Your Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and everything on your desktop itself, and you get you keep getting updates, right? So that's the main difference. But then, have you ever looked for security solution within Business Basic or Standard? So I believe most of you did not really realize that what are this. security layers we have in business basic and standard. So basically in those two license, right, you only have minimum baseline security. So what we call as minimum baseline security is Microsoft already have their protection implemented on the servers, right? On their, that's called general security for all the global security layer. That's only for the first layer, whereby they will try to if for example, if an email is coming in to your mailbox, so it will go through the Microsoft Exchange Online Protection, we call it EOP. So it goes through the EOP layer. It scans for whether it's a phishing email or spam email, but then it won't deep dive, right? It won't deep dive in sense of you cannot change that security protection, or you cannot set or define the policy. So it's predefined already. So if it bypass that, then it's bypassed. That's it. So it's not like properly secure on that area, right? So there's still layers that you can actually secure the things, right? Okay, so on my screen right now, you can see what are the products that I mean, like what are the things that you get in the license at the moment. So like I mentioned, all these applications and everything. So, but I'm not going to read every single thing. So the main focus here is basically there's no enhanced security layer on business basic and also standard, right? So the rest of the things you can see, the common things are there. Whatever you need as to enhance your productivity, yes, you get in business basic and standard. But in terms of enhancing your security, we have to go further, right? So what are the things missing in business basic and standard, right? So you can see here, right, the missing piece is basically some conditional access policy, right? So what is conditional access and all these things, I will explain in later part. So these are the simple things that you are missing, like conditional access, Microsoft Intune for your device management, right? And then you have Microsoft Defender for business, right? That's mainly for your endpoint protection, so for your device protection. And then we have safe link, safe attachment for policy. So that's mainly for any emails or Teams files that you attach or you receive. So this policy can be actually a protection layer that can scan through certain things, right, before it reaches out to your mailbox, right? And this is purely customizable. So you can define this policy based on your own needs, right? Your own company policies, right? And then we have Defender for Office 365 capability. So just now it was Defender for business. That's mainly for endpoint protection, your device protection. And this is for Defender for Office 365 is mainly for your emails, right? Anti-phishing, anti-spam, anti-malware, safe links, safe attachments, and all those things, right? And then the last one is Azure AD Premium P1 license. So this is mainly for your multi-factor authentication and also much more, right? So what this means in real life, right? So basically, you guys don't have any phishing protection, right? So fake emails still can reach out to your staff, right? So no device control. So you cannot control your device, right? For example, you cannot, if let's say the device is stolen, so you cannot like wipe all the information inside the device, such things and everything, right? So that's really vulnerable. No access rules. So no access rules meanings stolen password still works, right? So you cannot reset your device, or you cannot do any, it's out of your control, right? Based in terms of access to your data, to your account, right? So no threat detection. So yes, so you are actually vulnerable when you are missing all these things, because even though if let's say the threat is detected, but you won't get any detection response, or you won't get any detection to prevent it before reaching out to the staff, right? So what are the key takeaways in this slide is basically basic and standard equals work enablement but not work protection, right? So that's what we are focusing on, mainly on protection side for today. Right. So that's on the module one. So we look at what you have right now and what you are missing at the moment, right? So module two is basically we're going to look at common risk that small, medium businesses are being attacked with, right? All these in attacks looks very simple, but then a simple thing can actually breach a lot of things, right? So now we will look at what are the type of attacks that have been happening. Then we will actually go further, right? So on module two, common security risk. So these are the five types of common security risk that happens all the time, right? So phishing emails, that's I put that as the first one is because that's what most happened, right? Phishing email. So you guys must understand what is phishing email. So I'll explain that as well. So second part is stolen password. So yeah, I know you guys like to save password in your Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge. Whenever you sign in, there'll be a prompt called, would you like to save your password? And then for those that always forgot your password, then you guys will go and click save, right? So technically your password is in the browser. So anyone that gain access to your browser through any other website that you log in, so you might be logging to different websites, you might register. Nowadays there's a lot of AI websites that you want that out there that you want to try, and then you go register, and you might not sure that is a real website or not. Then you are always vulnerable when you are in the internet, right? So when you save your password, then basically it's easier, or there is a way, I would say, for them to store that password and everything, right? Lost laptops, like I mentioned earlier as well. And then personal device accessing company data, like I mentioned, mobile devices and everything, right? And then the last part is ransomware. So ransomware, um, very rare, but then nowadays it's becoming a trend because your data is not protected. So when your data is vulnerable, so the moment they capture your data, that's where people start asking for ransom. So ransom means money, na? So they keep asking for money to, there's a lot of things happen. So we have some certain experience as well in ransomware. So yeah, we will talk about that shortly. Yeah. So, real life attacks happening to small and medium businesses. So, the reality is cybersecurity attacks don't start with hacking. So, people have this misconception on cyber attacks. What they think is attacks only happen when we get hacked. So, what is hacking? So you must understand that hacking, there's different topic. There's three types of hackers, gray, white, and black hat and everything. So that's different story. So basically they start with simple mistake. So people always tend to, try to catch somebody off guard, right? So it's our job, it's our duty to always educate our internal members with the types of attacks that is happening, and then what are the things they have to really be aware of, right? So by doing that, we basically preventing from cyber attacks, right? Preventing people from cyber attacks. So lost device or one wrong click. So so basically we are actually in the borderline of from getting hacked, I would say, maybe in terms of how easily you guys can understand. Hacked meaning cyber attack, lah. So we are actually in the borderline when we use only productivity tool. So we are just one click away from crossing the border, right? So yeah. So number one. So basically, it looks like a normal email. So this is the first scenario where we talk about phishing email. So yeah, it looks like a normal email. So that's what all the staff says when they click something, accidentally, or they click, they believe it's a normal email from a genuine sender. They click the link or they open the file, and then everything collapse, right? So what happened is basically an employee receives an email, right? And then he basically, it looks like a normal email. normal Microsoft email and click the link, right? So what went wrong? The email was fake, right? So, and then the password was stolen. So how do they steal the password? So you guys must always understand, if you are in Microsoft environment, the person that can reset your email password is one, your Microsoft license provider. So the person that gives you the license, if you authorize them to access your tenant, they can reset the password for you. Or if you have an admin, your own admin account under Microsoft Portal, you can reset your password, right? Or if you enable reset password, this we call it self-service reset password. So if you enable this function, then the user itself can reset their password. So these are the only three methods that you can actually reset a password for your Microsoft email, right? For a business account, right? Obviously. So these are the three methods that you can go through, right? Microsoft will never send you an email saying, hey, Kishan, your password is old. It's too old. Can you please reset your password? Microsoft will never send such email, right? So this is how they try to catch people off guard. So they will use Microsoft, kind of like Microsoft email, but then it's not a Microsoft email. So they will use Microsoft logo, because you can go just Google Microsoft and you go to images, you get a lot of Microsoft images, right? So you can just save that image and put it as a banner in your email and just send it over to anyone you want, right? And you can make it look like, genuine Microsoft email asking to reset your password. So you click that link and it goes to the exact Microsoft page, right? But then it's a bogus page. It's a fake page, right? So you click your email address and then you type in your password and then the new password and everything. It looks like you already reset. And then you try the new password on your browser, it doesn't work. So basically what happened is, basically that link, the moment you type your old password, right? It is already sent to the person that trying to fish you lah. So that's what we call phishing email, right? So they get your current password and then they sign in as you, right? So that's how easily people can get hacked. So this is something you guys have to educate your staff to understand how these things works. So not only for password reset, so there's a lot of things that can happen. So there might be a file sent to you, right? And then you click that file, it looks like a PDF file or Excel file, but then technically that is a downloadable executable file, which is running the program on your device at the back end and reading all the data inside and everything. So without you realizing, right? A lot of things can happen. So what are the business impacts? So basically, of course, your confidential data exposed, and then internal emails sent to customers. So yeah, so this is something happened. So we have faced this experience with some of our customers. So whereby the email is got hacked, their password was stolen. Technically, we understand that they have signed in a public Wi-Fi, public network. So that's when their password got exposed. So when the person log in, use the password to sign in from other place, right? What happened is they start to send emails to their internal people and to their customers. So there's a lot of emails went out within few minutes as well, right? So of course it's coming from the genuine email. So the staff or the customers, of course, they will think, oh, this is my customer or this is our staff sending this email, right? So that is really, really hard for us to detect, and it took time to detect and then solve that issue. Yes, we can solve that issue, but then like I mentioned, without protection, you can detect only after the issue happens. But with protection, you can detect before itself. So that's the benefit over here. So what are the takeaway on this? So email click, one click can basically expose the entire company. So yes, so like I mentioned, like we are in the borderline, one click away, then we are just done, right? So that's on scenario one. On scenario two, so basically we are looking at lost laptop, right? So lost laptop equals lost company data. So just imagine uh, you are traveling, or maybe you are eating somewhere after your work, or maybe during a lunch break, you have your laptop bag and everything, and somebody stole. Of course, that shouldn't happen, right? If this type of things happen, or you misplace your laptop and you couldn't get your laptop back, it can happen, right? So if you are scenario at the moment with the current license. So just imagine that you have a laptop, and then you don't set any password, or maybe you just set the common pin or everything, right? But then the laptop is stolen at the moment, right? So until you get back the laptop, you cannot do anything to that, right? So when you can't do anything to that laptop, right? So the company data can easily be accessed. How they can access my company data? Oh, I already set my PIN. They don't know my PIN, so they cannot access it. It's as simple as this. Just take out the hard disk, right? Just take out the hard disk and then plug it in a USB and put it in another laptop, and they can access the files inside that, right? It's as simple as that, right? It's not so complicated, right? So when that thing happens, your company data is already lost, right? Because you kept everything in the laptop and you cannot wipe out or do anything. So what happened? A staff laptop, you know, lost while traveling, like I mentioned. What went wrong? Laptop was not protected. Company emails or files were still accessible. Right. So what is the business impact? Customer data exposed, compliance risk, nowhere to look or wipe the device. Right? You cannot lock the device, right? You cannot lock the hard disk, right? We can lock the hard disk if you have the proper device protection. We can lock the hard disk. So if they take out the hard disk and plug it in a new USB kind of things, they still require a password to unlock that, right? So you can lock or wipe out if you have the protection enabled, right? So take away a lost device becomes a data breach without proper protection, right? So this is so far based on lost device. Based on my experience, I have never heard of it in my environments that I know. But then wiping out devices, it's very useful. Even if the laptop is not stolen, you have the laptop, right? If you need to reset up to new user, new stuff or anything, right? You can always use these features like wipe the device. You can wipe and reset it as a new laptop and give it to the new joiner, right? So there's always multiple things we can do with this function. Not only we are not focusing on one solution, we have multiple solution with the same product, right? So next scenario three. So ransomware from a personal device. So employee access company files using a personal home laptop. So yeah, personal home laptop. So the personal device had malware. So we don't know what are the things they access, or what are the things they sign up with their personal home device, right? They might register on a random website to get some newsletter kind of things and everything, or they watch movies on on different websites, not only Netflix Prime, but certain movies. Obviously, certain movies you can't get in Netflix or Prime. What you do, you just go for different web browser, and then you start looking for the movie, and then there's always pop-up blockers, like pop-up coming up and everything. So all these websites are actually not a genuine website. Yes, they still run the movies, but then it's not a legal place for you, right? So obviously everyone use this in your personal laptop, right? So you don't have to hide that. Of course, everyone does that. Right. So when you do that, we don't know what are the things downloading, or sometimes you download certain games on your laptop. You know, you believe that it's just a game, but then we don't know whether the source is a genuine source, or is it a attached together with something else, right? So when that happen, so your malware encrypted shared company file, so it will automatically encrypt the hard disk and like to collect all the data. You itself cannot wipe out anything from your laptop. So this type of things happen. So business impact, so basically files locked, right? So your files might be locked because the moment they access the OneDrive or SharePoint files, they can do anything. They can delete it, or they can actually lock the file, from so obviously until you recover the files or you do something to the file, you can't update certain things, right? So ransom demanded to recover data. So this is what I have been telling you guys. So ransomware, so whereby there was this company A, whereby their files was stored in a certain place, right? And basically, they did not really care about the security layers, so they don't do a patch updates or anything. So what happened is their specific folder, not the entire data, a specific folder, mainly focusing on their finance folder. It's got hacked, right? Got logged, and they collect all the information and everything, right? So after that, the company receives an email saying that we got all your data from this folder, blah blah blah, and everything. So you pay this much of money before we can actually give you all the data back. Because why do we need the data? How do we know people already stole our data? Is when you go and open the folder, basically first you don't see any files, right? That's one thing. Or second thing, what you see is you see the files there, but when you open, you you just receive an error. You don't see any data or anything. So that's where we can find, like understand that something went wrong, right? If you are someone that already done a backup, right? Auto backup to another place, then you can always restore back and don't pay the ransom. But then if you don't have any backup or so on, right? Any protection done, then what are you gonna do on that scenario, right? You gonna pay the ransom or how, right? So that's something where this particular company is stuck. But luckily, even though they don't do that patches or anything, there was a backup was set up at the initial stage itself. So it will always run the backup to the cloud. So what we did, we asked them to ignore the ransom, don't pay because your data is already backed up, right? So we do all the patches, we do all the cleanup, we remove all the malwares and everything. Then we restore back the backup, right? So this is one of the solution that really help to tackle that ransom part. So if you, this is mainly focused on the file, but if you have this protection before itself, right? So if there's something, this type of things happening, we can detect before it reaches out your files or your stuff and everything, right? So unmanaged personal device can shut down the business. So yeah. So unmanaged personal home devices, it's really hard, right? But then if you have this device management protection, so it doesn't matter, the moment they sign in their personal device, you can set certain policies where if they are signing into Microsoft account from a personal home device, number one, you automatically block the file access, right? So they cannot use their personal laptop to access company file. So you block with policies. Or what you can do, you set up policy whereby they can access the files, but then for a certain period of time, maybe you open it for 1 hour. So only the admins can basically enable that part. So the admin allow the user, okay, I allow you to access from this device name for 1 hour. Then after 1 hour, automatically the folders and files will be locked out. So all these things can be done using this access with devices, right? So scenario 4, right? So we've got two more scenarios that we will jump into the core part, right? So scenario 4 is basically a stolen password, silent access. So this is, I would say it's a nightmare because to be honest, this can happen in many ways, right? So the first scenario, like I mentioned, it's about the web browser where you save password, right? So you save password and then you don't update your browser because if you guys realize your Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge always have updates, right? If you don't do the updates on your own, it will automatically close all your Google Chrome and then reopens back. It runs the updates automatically, kind of things, right? So, so password leak from another platform. So, how many of you, right? So, if you guys can access the chat area, so you can just give your answers. Just a random question. So, how many of you use the same password in multiple platforms, right? So, how many of you do that? So, so just imagine if you guys using the same password in multiple places, right? You might be thinking, okay, since I'm in IT environment, so um, I would say I can think as a how hackers would think, how they see people's vulnerability. And I can also think from the human perspective, the common people's perspective, right? Like you guys, right? So you might be doing, I mean, like setting up the same password, right? Because you tend to forget if you have multiple passwords, right? So just imagine you have you sign into your email, right? Your Microsoft email, and then you got your personal Gmail account, and then you maybe might have signed up to maybe some AI tool, right? And then there also got password, and then you might have signed into another web browser, and then you have password. So just imagine you got three, at least minimum three, like three different set of password. Over the time you will forget. So when you forget, what do? You save the password to the browser, right? So these are the key vulnerable points that the hacker is actually looking at. So most of the time, most of you guys will not have multiple password to different websites, right? You guys definitely gonna have the same password on all the platforms, right? So if I can get that password in one of the platform, because the platform that you guys are using, also we have to know whether they are really secure enough or not, their database is secure enough or not, right? So if I can get one password, and then after that I can actually just go and try in different browser, right? So for example, I already got into your Gmail account's password, and I know your Gmail account password. So I know this is your email address, and then I know this is your password. So I can just now I already gain access to your email, right? Your Gmail account. Now I can just go inside your Gmail. I can see which are the platforms that you have registered, right? So I'm not sure you guys know that or not. So you guys can see wherever you have registered or you have subscribed with this email address, right? So if there's any important page, right? Right, any important page, or maybe you have some Bitcoin page or anything. So I just go and try with the same email address and password, or maybe you have different pages. I just try and error. So that's the first level of hacking, right? Even when in college time, in your university times, when you start learning hacking, this is the fundamentals that you're gonna learn how to gain password, right? So, so from there you can actually do try and error with the passwords. Then you might be vulnerable already, right? So yeah, data copied without detection, no alerts, long-term data exposure. So yeah, So they can also have silent access to your Gmail. Like I mentioned, I have silent access to your Gmail, but you never know. So I might be keep reading your Gmail, your emails, whatever emails that you receive or whatever things that you're gonna do. I keep reading it, without you knowing it, right? So yeah, so that's what we call silent access. Right. So the final scenario here is one compromised account equals company-wide problem. Right. So what happened? One user account was compromised. So compromised in terms of all the scenarios that we listed, right? So password stolen or phishing email or malware, malware running on the back end. So it can be anything or personal device or devices got stolen, right? So one user account got compromised. So what happened? So basically attackers sent emails internally, right? Colleague trust the sender, right? And then business impact, multiple account compromise, right? And then company emails used for fraud. So they can just use it for email blast, right? So asking for different things, right? So when I talk about this attacks and everything, right? So I always have this particular incident that I always mention to all the customers. So this is company B. So just now it's company A. This is company B. So this is real life incident which I was actually working with the client to resolve this issue and everything. So it's a personal experience. So this is company B. So it's the CEO of the company. So basically, he receives an email saying that they sent a video, pictures, and everything, saying that we got this video and pictures and everything from your camera, your laptop camera. So saying that they are claiming that they have been silently watching the person using their laptop camera. So they sent an email saying that you have to pay this much of ransom. If not, we will leak all these photos, videos, and everything. We have been doing this and that. So everything is in bad terms, right? So they have been looking at solutions like how this is possible, how they can actually access the camera, right? So when we go back and look for it, so when we run all the scans and everything, right? So we found that like before all this incident happened, right? We found that there was there was an um sorry. So there was a installation happened in the device. So whereby the the CEO basically install some kind of tools. I'm not sure whether it's kind of like similar to PDF reader or kind of things. I'm not sure. But then when they install it, it comes with malware as well because the page that comes with it, it's not a genuine page. So when they install that package together, right? It's an executable file. So basically, they gain access to the PC silently. So when they gain access to the PC and everything, so they can actually turn on the camera, they can access your emails and everything. So this is what happened on that scenario. So it is something that, yes, of course, we can actually wipe out everything, but now the issue is already happened and something wrong has already happened. So what can we do? So it's just that they just leave it with no response and just go with it, right? And reformat everything, reset everything, right? So yeah, so one weak account can put the whole company at risk. Yes, because everyone is in the same cluster, like you are in the same cluster. So if one is infected, so everyone is gonna infect it, right? It's similar to our COVID, right? So the person that already kena, then definitely the next person also gonna kena. It's high possibility lah. The possibility is very high over there, right? So that's on the scenarios that we looked at the risk that will happen without the proper protection to our productivity tools, right? All right. So next up, what we're going to look at is business risk before versus after business premium. So without business premium, yes, we always at risk because we only focus on productivity. We are not focusing on protection, right? So the types of risks, like I mentioned, all the things like one wrong click can expose the company, lost laptop or devices, right? So personal devices can be vulnerable for businesses, right? So attacks go unnoticed. So this is really, really common nowadays. Attacks go unnoticed because how many of you, right? Again, another question. I'm just throwing in the table another question. How many of you get annoyed or get frustrated when the Windows wants to restart for updates, right? I'm sure pretty much if you are a non-IT person, because the IT person obviously they know, right? The non-IT person, obviously you might get annoyed most of the time because the people that I have worked with, right, most of the time because I go to client side for supports last time, but now no more. So what I face is they don't restart their laptop. So whenever it asks for restart, they'll always go for later, later, and then they don't even shut down also. They just lock the device, and then tomorrow come in, just sign in and start using it back, right? So most of you guys will do that part, right? So when the update is no longer there, so you guys are always vulnerable, right, to attacks, right? All right. So okay. Sec. All right. All right. So, so that's what happened without business premium. So if you have business premium, obviously you can notice all this, right? The last one is basically higher business impact. So like ransomware attacks and everything, right? So with business premium, so all these attacks that we talked about earlier, it's in controlled manner, right? So basically threat blocked before damage happens. So that's we have been talking all the while, right? So we can control all these actions like password stolen or suspicious email or logins kind of things, right? So how we gonna stop it? So basically, if let's say a suspicious email coming in, before it goes to the inbox, it will run through the anti-spam, anti-malware, anti-phishing security layer, right? So go through that layer. If there's something wrong, it instead of going to the inbox, it will go to a quarantine page for your IT to assess first before they can release the email. So they have to review it before they can release it to you, right? So if it's an important email, obviously the moment you don't get it in inbox, your customer might already WhatsApp, hey bro, I already email you lah, you tak dapat ke? Then you might be saying that, hey, I didn't get the email lah, let me check with my IT team. So when they check, it is inside your quarantine. So that's mostly happened to us. So sometimes one of my colleague will always reach out to me saying that, "Hi Kishan, can you release this email? It's related to our TM billing, Maxis billing kind of things." So when there's an attachment kind of things, uh, and the email is coming from a very common email address kind of things, it always moves to quarantine. So I always have to review it, and then I have to whitelist the email, and then I have to release it for her, right? So this is very common. So this is how we can actually protect even a little suspicious email, even though it's genuine, it goes to the quarantine. So just imagine genuine emails itself goes to quarantine. So how about the real nonsense emails? Definitely will go to the quarantine page instead of the user inbox, right? So lost devices secure instantly. So yes, so company data can be locked or wiped remotely itself. So the moment you are inside Business Premium and you enroll the device, we call it enrollment, into Intune. So when you enroll it, so basically the device is already properly protected. So you can actually, as an IT person, you can roll out any policies, right? So you can push through the admin portal itself, so the users don't have to restart. You can set the restart date and time and everything, so you can push it manually. So that's one thing. And then if let's say the device is stolen or the device need to be reset up to a new person, you can always choose to wipe out the entire device, right? So if it's stolen, you can just lock or you just wipe out all the data inside there. So you wiping out the data inside the device will not wipe out the real data in the SharePoint or OneDrive. The rest of the users still can access, but only from the device will be wiped out, right? So similarly, if you're setting up a new user, so you can wipe out the profile and everything, reset up back the device to the new person, right? So that's one of the things, but there's a lot of things that can be done inside Intune. That's a separate big topic. So I'm just giving a simple explanation. So only trusted devices access company data. So how we can do that? So you can actually enroll the devices in your admin portal under this Intune portal, where you enroll the device using their device name and everything. So only that particular device can actually gain access to the files or your emails or anything related to the company data. So if let's say the user's trying to sign in from no, a device that is not registered under Intune, then basically they cannot access any files, right? So that's how you can actually secure things, right? So early detection, automatic response. So automated response. Lah. So yeah. So what we have here is we can detect the issue beforehand, like I mentioned, goes to the quarantine kind of things, or if there's any malware, anything detected, so we can set automate remediation. So automate remediation or automated response is a AI configuration into the security tool, right? So whereby it will automatically scan. Shown, for example, there's malware detected after the scan. So what it does is it will automatically run through the malware. So where is the location on the device, whether what is the impact and everything. So if it's really not related to you or really useless in your device and it's impacting your device, then it will automatically do the uninstallation, do the auto remediation. So this is what we have in Business Premium. See, the auto detection and then the auto remediation together. So your IT team just need to set up this, and then the auto responses will take place whenever there's some vulnerable things got scanned, right? So your IT admin always can actually go and look at the results, like what has been happened all this while. They can collect the report and kind of things, right? So all these things can be taken by your IT team, right? So the last one, business continuity protected. So yes, lower risk equals faster recovery. So we can detect anything before, so it won't impact your business, right? We don't have to hold anybody from using certain files or folders. So we just focus on the device or focus on the user base to get things done, right? So that's what business premium actually gives us, a proper control on all the data and also um, identity and also data. Yeah. All right. So I believe that's really okay hard for you guys to take on. So far we look at all the risk, what are the types of attacks, and what you will get when you go to business premium. So now from here we will just dive into business premium, right? So whatever that we're gonna get in from business premium, right? So we will just look into it. Right. So module 3, so we are almost halfway, right? Halfway into into this meeting, right? So yeah, so what are we looking at on this module is basically business premium security stack. So what are the things that we get inside business premium license, right? So business premium. So before I go into in depth what business premium gives, so what is business premium at first place? So business premium is actually the highest level, highest tier for SME companies, right? Um, Highest level tier license for SME companies in Microsoft services for SME companies. So we have business basic, business standard, and then we have business premium. So this is related to small, medium businesses, right? If you are enterprise level, then you got an E3, E5, and then you got M365 E3, O365 E3. So there's a lot of bundles coming up there, right? But then if you are someone that looking for productivity tool together with proper security, right? So instead of going to advanced, like I mean the ones that I mentioned, E3 or E5, that comes with a lot of security bundles together. But for SMEs, business premium is the next phase from here, right? So business premium is good enough for you guys to get started, right? Because it comes with a bundle of securing your device, securing your emails, securing your files, right? So which is the common things that we need, right? So business premium equals to security bundle. So yeah, so basic and standard, you have just the minimum baseline security, but here you can customize your own security, you can protect many more things, right? All right. So, how does the protection happen? So, before I explain or deep dive into business premium, I just want to explain a little bit. Not only in Microsoft, anywhere that you go, or in any environment, or any product that you are purchasing. So, you might be looking at different solutions, right? Maybe today you are in this webinar because you want to find out some security solution. Maybe you consider some of the other security solutions as well, right? In this current day or current era, the very least you must have in your protection layer or protection baseline should be based on this one, zero trust. So zero trust is a module, right? It's not a separate product or anything. Zero trust is a module, or it's a concept that is actually should follow by any security baseline products, right? So zero trust means very simple. I just keep it in short terms. If you go and Google or you just ask ChatGPT, it gives you a long list of explanation and everything. So zero trust means don't trust anyone by default. That's what the system trying to say. So the system must not trust anybody, right? You might be thinking, hey, I'm already in the same environment and this is my colleague. So why not? We know they're not gonna misuse or whatever. So that is your trust on the person. But then as for the system doesn't know the person, so the system doesn't know anyone, so the system doesn't trust anyone. So that's the simple definition of zero trust. So before anyone can access company data, so the protection of zero trust layer follows this order. So before anyone can access the company data, it will try to verify who they are, right? Check the devices they are using, right? And then limit access to only what they need, right? So this is what we call zero trust, right? It will go through these layers of protection. So first it will verify whether the email account is in the environment or not. So, okay, he is in the environment. And then the second thing, okay, from which device is he trying to sign in? It will look into the device. So if let's say the device isn't enrolled into Intune, hey, okay, this device is not enrolled into Intune, then he shouldn't have access. So I'm stopping it at this layer itself. So access denied, finish. So if let's say it is the proper device. So the third part, limit access to only what they need. So if let's say it's the person is from finance department, then they can only access finance related things. If it's from IT department, they can only access IT related things. So we are limiting the access, right? So the system always assumes password can be stolen. So for the system, based on the system's mindset, yes, password can be stolen, device can be lost, and then attacks can already be happening at the moment. So it will run through all this scan in microseconds. So we might not even feel whether this is running or not, because people might think, oh, kalau kita set up all this security baseline, nanti laptop slow. Because it takes a lot of time. Bila I buka file, it takes a lot of time. So all these things can happen, right? It's the people's mindset that always stop them from going further in these protection layers, I would say. Because before this, you might have bad free version of antivirus, pre-installed punya antivirus and everything. You might have bad experience with. So based on that, you already judge the rest of the products and everything, right? So access is continuously checked, not just at login. So it keeps on running at the back end. So even without us realizing, right? All right. So what else are we looking at over here? Okay, how business premium support zero trust, right? So like I mentioned, zero trust is a security baseline in any security product. So similarly, how business premium is supporting that is basically includes tools that let you implement key parts of zero trust, right? Right, especially for small and medium businesses, right? So tools that let you implement. So what are the tools that we are talking about to have this zero trust security baseline, right? Number one, identity and access. So what is identity and access? So basically we are focusing on MFA. So extra verification beyond password. So you might be thinking, hey, I already using business basic and standard, and I also have MFA, right? So if you think that way, then basically MFA for business basic and standard is optional. It's not mandatory, it's optional base. So you can enable, you can disable, right? But when it comes to business premium, MFA is a mandatory thing, right? It's compulsory. Without MFA, you cannot go further in business premium, right? So MFA is the only thing you have in business basic or standard. The rest of the things you don't have in business basic or standard, right? So the second thing, how to basically identify it's you and give you access. You can use conditional access. Allow or block access based on user, device, or location. So like I mentioned, you can use this conditional access. You can block people, right? You can actually block a device. You can actually block locations. So for example, you can block locations, different types of region. So for example, you can block based on country. You can also block based on IP addresses. So if let's say you want to only allow people access the data when they are in your office network, yes, they can do that, right? If let's say they go back home, they try to access, they cannot access the files, right? So there's many more things that you can do using conditional access, right? So that's for identity and also access. When it comes to device security, so device compliance check. So only secure, healthy device can access company data. So yes, so compliance check will happen every day. So what is compliance check? So as simple as Windows update is a compliance check. So how can I do this Windows update as a compliance check is when you set up the compliance policy to the devices. So what you're going to do, you're going to give the minimum Windows patch update that need to be in order to access the file, right? For example, recently Microsoft announced that Windows 10 is already shut down, right? So they will stop all the security patch updates and everything, but you can still use Windows 10, but it's not forever lah. So it's almost you need to figure out to upgrade to Windows 11 and everything, right? So you can, if you are a company that wants to use Windows 11 as the main device compliance, then what you can do is you can actually set up your minimum requirement on compliance is Windows 11. So if let's say for those that did not um, upgrade to Windows 11 or did not run the the free scan and free upgrade to Windows 11 or anything, they will not be able to access the files, right? Because they are still in Windows 10. So that's how the compliance check happened. But if let's say the minimum is something that you can put Windows 10, but then you have to put the update version package, maybe 22H2, 22H1. So it depends on the latest version that you want to set. So it's up to the IT team to set up all these compliance policies. Microsoft policy. This is set up by yourself itself, right? So you can define how you want to manage your security baseline, right? So that's on compliance check. The next one is Defender for. So protect devices from malware and cyber attacks. So Defender for Business is basically instead of purchasing antivirus, this business premium comes together with the um, antivirus. So we call it as Microsoft Defender. So Microsoft Defender, we just need to enable, and then the policy we need to set up from the admin portal. So that policy will be applied to all the devices that is enrolled, right? So all the scanning, all the remediation will be happen from the admin portal itself, from your own tenant, right? So it's no longer you have to go to the device, you have to scan using antivirus, and then you do the remediation. No, you don't have to go to the physical device. You can do it from the admin portal, from the Intune portal itself, right? So the last one is app and data protection. So email and file protection. So this is the 5 layers that you will get under this email and file protection. One is anti-phishing. Another one is anti-spam. Third one is anti-malware. The fourth one is safe link. And the fifth one is safe attachment. So you can define the type of level that you want to set for phishing or spam level security. Because the moment you go and see what are the things you can do, there's a lot more you can actually do. So you can set the aggressiveness of the phishing email capture. So there's multiple levels. You can set level 1, 2, 3, 4. For anti-spam, you can set multiple levels like 1 until 9. So the 9 means it's the most vulnerable. Any spam emails will just go into inboxes, or you can set like 3 or 4, which is good enough already to capture all the marketing related emails or email blasting companies to not send directly to your inbox, right? Because all these marketing email blast related email addresses will always have the spam level, we call it as BCL, right? It's a spam bulk sender level lah. So they have a certain level whereby if it falls under that category, then automatically it moves to your junk or quarantine page instead of inbox. So there's a lot of things we can actually protect from this layer, right? As for least privilege access, user only get access to what they need. So yes, we can actually block people from accessing only certain amount of files or any access, right? So they cannot access everything, right? So we can actually control using this least privilege access, right? All right. So this is the layers that actually business premium provide us when it comes to zero trust, right? So these are the tools that Microsoft provide us. All right. So similarly to what I mentioned in the previous page, so this is a complete table of what are the security layer and what you get and what it matters, like what it does, right? So security at a glance, let's look at it. So business premium is not one tool. So it's a security ecosystem. So you get a whole bunch of security ecosystem, security page, reports, remediation, auto remediation. So there's a lot of things you get in bundle. So it's not just about the one or two features or three or four features inside there, but there's a lot more things that you're gonna get, right? So identity protection. So Entra ID under Entra ID. So all this comes under Entra ID. So each identity, right, we need to protect. Like it's like your IC, right? Your identification card, right? It's simply you cannot pass it to anyone. Similarly to that, your email address is also an identity for you. So that is something we have to protect. So what it matters, stop stolen password and risk sign in. So risky sign in means it detects sign in from different locations. So it gives you an gives the IT team a notification. Oh, okay, the person is signing in from a different location today, so they can actually double check whether it's really they are signing in or kind of things. So when they sign in, if it's the location is blocked, then they will automatically block the sign in and everything, right? So MFA, so advanced MFA plus conditional access. So like I mentioned, business basic and standard, you have the common MFA. It's optional for you. But here you get advanced MFA, which is automatically enforced, and conditional access. So MFA enforced based on risk, not optional. So it's not an optional anymore, right? So conditional access, device location, risk-based rules you can set, right user, right device, right place, then they able to access, right? So endpoint security, defender for business, protect your laptop like I mentioned. Device management is Microsoft Intune. So Microsoft Intune comes together with Business Premium. So Intune is the main game changer in this package, I would say. So Intune is the one that controls all these things, right? Your devices, your email protection, your identity protection, all these things, even though it looks separate, but all these things comes under this Intune where you can protect everything in one go, right? So you might be asking, okay, I have business standard. Can I purchase this Microsoft Intune standalone? Yes, you can purchase Microsoft Intune standalone, but when you compare the price and see, instead of purchasing Microsoft Intune alone, it's better to purchase Business Premium because it comes with email protection, the endpoint, and everything. So you have a lot of things, right? If you go for Intune alone together with business standard, you can only enroll the device, right? But then you don't get this email protection, you don't get this defender, endpoint protection, all these things, right? So and the cost is basically like about a few dollars difference. Like of course, Intune and Business Standard is cheaper, but then when it comes to Business Premium, I believe so two to three dollars something difference. With that additional $3-4, you can get actually the entire suite of security bundle, right? So data protection, so information protection policy, prevent data leakage. So information protection is basically we call it whereby you can set up sensitive labelings. So sensitive labeling in terms of like if you create a Word document, you can set sensitive labeling like whether it's confidential, highly confidential, and then if it's highly confidential, only user A, B, C can access. If it's confidential, users C, A, B, C, D, E, F can access. So you can segregate them based on the sensitive label that you apply to the files, right? So that's on information protection. So mobile and BYOD control app protection. So yes, you can control the apps in the mobile. So of course, if you are using personal device, personal phone, the company cannot access the entire personal data. But then we have this tool called company portal, whereby through that company portal, it's an application. So we can enable that. So when you install that company portal, With that company portal, you can access company data, right? So the Teams, Outlook, and everything, that company portal will basically oversee the company data in your mobile. Only the company data, not your personal data. Definitely no, right? So if let's say you already leave the organization, you already hand over the laptop and everything, but then you did not delete anything from your phone. So what the IT team can do is basically they can wipe out the company portal application from the admin portal itself. So when they wipe out, the company data in your mobile will be wiped out as well. So only the company data, right? So zero trust foundation. So yeah. So yes, zero trust foundation is inside business premium. Identity, device, and access. That's the three thing. So who you are, um, which device are you using, from where. So these are the three main thing that requires in zero trust, right? So that is something is inside business premium. So if you go outside find looking for any other product also, always look for zero trust model. If there's no zero trust model, then there's something wrong with the product, right? It's not giving you the proper security that requires, right? So modern security model. So yes, it is a modern security model, zero trust. So the old school one, there's no zero trust, right? All these models and everything. Right now, this is the main thing, right? Okay. So now we have looked at the business premium product outline, like what are the things we can get, right? Now let's look at cost versus risk. So, so we are, yeah, almost at the end. So a few more to go. So module 4. So this is just one module. Say cost versus risk. So why did I put this particular um, slide? Is because I really want to talk about the the misconception that I mentioned earlier. You know, people tend to think differently when it comes to cost, right? So people always look for cost saving, cost saving, cost saving. Obviously, yes, business looking at cost and everything, but then we always have to compare the cost with risk, right? So similarly, like whatever things that you buy outside there, um, if you buy maybe a shirt, right? You buy a shirt for X amount of money, right? Like 50 bucks. You buy it for 50 ringgit. So you get the 50 ringgit quality, right? So if you go and buy, you know, a 200 ringgit or 300 ringgit of shirt, you get different material, right? So when you purchase in that manner, you always will consider certain things. So you might be thinking, okay, it's 50 ringgit. How long am I gonna use this? And the shirt quality is not really good. Also, the moment get kena sunlight, always, yeah, I think the color will get. I mean, like change lah, puda lah, and everything. A lot of things. You will consider a lot of things, right? So similarly, when you go and purchase the 200 ringgit or 300 ringgit of shirt, you will see, okay, yeah, the shirt is very chill, not so thick, not so thin, and it's not really I can use it for a very long time. So you consider a lot of things. Similarly, similar concept over here, right? So one security incident cost, right? So for example, the ransomware attack happened. So they ask about thousands of dollars, thousands of ringgit. They might ask $50,000. So $50,000 you times with four, right now it's almost 200,000 for us, right? So when this type of things happen, just imagine something happen and they ask for $100,000, $200,000. Oh, it can be simple as 10,000 ringgit also can lah, 10,000 ringgit, right? The cost that you're gonna pay for business premium license or any other protection tool, right? When you go for it, it's not even that much, right? So you might be thinking, you might say, oh, as long as I don't get attacked, I won't pay that, right? But if I go for business premium, even though I'm protected, I still have to pay that. But then we never know what is the cost when the risk really happens, right? So that is something you have to consider, and the rest of the things, which is the downtime. When you are in risk, you have downtime. You cannot access, you cannot work, right? And then you have data loss. If you don't have backup, your data is lost. If you pay, you get back your data. If you don't pay, you don't get any data. All the number of years of work that you have done is just gone, just like that, without any protection, right? Reputation damage. So just imagine if something happened or leaked in any websites or web pages or anything, then your reputation got damaged. Your customer might be, asking you some compliance questions, what happened, and so on and so forth. So all these things you have to take count before you can actually be in this cost versus risk calculation. So you have to consider a lot of things before you can actually go for it. So the message here is simple. So one security incident can cause more than years of business premium licenses, right? So that is all about this module, right? So now we will look at migration or adoption, how easily we can actually go on this upgrade process and everything, right? So you might have a lot of questions. Okay, I'm new to Microsoft. Currently, I mean, my emails are in different platform, or my inside Google, or inside a different hosting or anything. How do I go about this business premium and all? I need all the email data and everything. So yes, we will go on the migration process where we will move all your emails to your new Microsoft environment. And if you go for business premium, we set up all the securities and everything. We will sit and discuss. So that's totally a brand new setup. And of course, you don't have any downtime, and your files are, if you are not using Microsoft, your files might be anywhere else. You might keep in Google Drive, you might keep in your desktop itself, you might have your own solution, but you can always move to business premium, and then you move all the data inside SharePoint or OneDrive, wherever you want to keep, and then protect with the protections that we have, right? So for those that existing clients, right? So I believe there's few of you guys are existing clients over here in this call, right? If you are using business basic or standard, right? You might be thinking, does this interrupt my work when we do all the setup? No, there's no any disruption for users. They will just do their work as usual. We will do all the configuration setup over the backend using the same tenant, under the same tenant, using the same data. We're just going to protect the data. We're not going to touch the data. We're just going to add a layer to the data, right? And then no reinstallation of apps, right? So we don't go to the users, ask them to reinstall and everything. But if you go for Intune enrollment, yes, we have some, process to enroll the device into Intune portal and everything. So that requires some configuration on the users end. But then the profile updates and everything, what will happen is we will do the policy setup and everything beforehand itself, and then we go on site to the user's devices, and we will do the enrollment. So it takes about 15 to 20 minutes of the user's time so to enroll all these things, right? So we recently, last week was one of the project we have been doing it. So the rough estimation time for one user is about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, right? So we have a proper guideline and what are the flow need to be done. So we just use that particular flow, right? Security layer, activate progressively. So it's not that the moment you purchase business premium, oh, I have to set up everything right now. No, the moment you go for business premium, the security layers are already there. You can take stage by stage. You can roll out stage by stage, right? First, you can roll out the Intune enrollment. You enroll all the devices first. And then you can maybe once this project is done. So next part, okay, now the devices are enrolled. Can we do the email protection and everything? So the rest of the things are from the back end, but then we can do layer by layer. So based on my experience, there was this one client, not going to name it, but they have over 1,000 over staff, which is our biggest client also yet. So the first project they came with us, and that's my first biggest project that I've done also. So what we did is we set up their email protection, the anti-phishing, malware, spam, safe attachment, safe link, the 5 layers that we talked earlier. So I did that configuration and everything. So since they are large numbers, so they roll out batch by batch. So for the C levels, they have separate policy. The lower levels, they have separate policy. So they have like IT team in different region. So the IT team itself almost like got 50 users that they want to use it as a pilot users. So we enroll to them first, see what's the outcome, what is the business impact. Then we roll out to the second batch, which is the users, but based on departments. So what is the impact? So we had to solve the impacts as well. So there was a lot of things, and that's my first learning as well. So it was initially hard for me because I had to manage big number of users. It's a big client. They have IT knowledge, IT background and everything. So the questions they throw, of course, you guys know, right? So it was a great learning for me. So all these things happen, and then basically there's no disruption for them, lah. So meanwhile, we adjust the policies, we change certain things, so they work as usual, right? So that's how you can actually go about it, right? So it's really easy. So upgrade is simple, it's not complicated. So yeah. So common fear versus reality. So the common fear that you guys might have, it's too complex. I cannot roll out this to the users and everything. You don't have to worry about that because there's always pre-configured policy designed for small and medium businesses. So the moment you already have business premium license, if let's say you don't know how to define your own custom policy, what you can do, you can start using the predefined policy that Microsoft already give together with business premium. So you apply that and then see how it impacts, whether it's working or not, or you still need to tighten it up. If you still need to tighten it up, then you can increase a level from there. So there's always pre-configured policy that can achieve this, right? It's not complex. So all the while, people might think the security all for enterprise only. No. Nowadays, enterprise level companies are much more secure. So the most targeted companies are the SME companies, right? So built specifically for small and medium businesses, business premium license, lah, right? So too expensive. So of course, it's cheaper than one security incident, right? And also, it's really good to consider with in a bundle because you guys might already have different security baselines. You might have Avast, or maybe you have McAfee security that you install in the devices. So instead of considering other tools outside, like multiple tools installing in one device, you can consider one device that gives you everything together, right? So if this sounds like you, then you need business premium. So employees work remotely, laptops leave the office, so it's going out and back and forth. Personal devices access company data. So you rely on email and also Teams daily. So if you are in emails and Teams daily, then you should consider this as well to secure your emails, right? So yeah, one cybersecurity attack, so cyber incident can actually hurt your businesses very much based on our experience, lah, based on what we see so far. So yeah, so we are at the end over here. So as a conclusion, what we are actually trying to achieve in this webinar here is give you a comparison between business standard, business premium. So right. So business standard phishing login succeed because it reaches out the user's email. Laptop stolen, data exposed, we cannot do anything. So malware spread silently, which is undetectable, right? So in business premium, risky login are blocked, device wiped remotely, right? Attacks contained automatically. So we have this AI tool that can automatically remediate a lot of things, right? So same user, same apps, very different result, right? So that's the main thing that we want to highlight. It's very different result, right? All right. So what should you do next? So these are the three things. So first thing, you can book a Microsoft 365 security posture review with us, right? So our team will jump in, look into your tenant, look at the compliance security score, and then suggest you what are the things you can improve, right? So, and then see whether you are in the compliance state that you want to achieve or not, right? So we can always have back and forth conversation. Number two, if let's say you are good enough to do all these things, so basically understand your current security level baseline. So what is your current security level? Have you enabled certain things like MFA, the common thing with business basic and standard? Have you enabled MFA? So most of the time, what they do is to use a third party tool to do email blasting, to use the SMTP relays and everything. You disable MFA most of the time. So that is one of the things you have to consider as well. You can disable MFA, but then disable it to the specific email address instead of the entire organization, right? So these are the things you have to take note, right? So number three, consider option to enhance security level. So it's time for you to consider certain things, right? So it depends on like how long you want to stay in the same uh, productivity focused tools. So now I believe so it's time to, it's 2026. I think it time for you to consider certain things, right? So this is what you should do. So now the last one before we end the session, it's about the pricing. All right. So basically the pricing that I'm showing you here is it's a uh, promo price that is happening right now. So we recently got this information from Microsoft as well. So whereby they are bundling up certain things with Copilot. So I believe you guys heard of Copilot already. So Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? So Business Basic plus Copilot Business, there's no any promo. It's $27 per user per month, right? But then I would not really recommend for Business Basic users to go for Copilot because Business Basic, it's web only usage, and Copilot is really powerful when you have desktop app, right? So when you are using in web based, I don't see people need the need of using Copilot license. But then if it's something that you want to explore, you can always do so, right? So business standard plus Copilot business. So that is something really hot in the market at the moment also, right? So regular price is $33.5, but right now the promo price is actually $22 per user per month. But then all this pricing is basically the price that given by Microsoft. It's not a partner. It's not partner discount yet. It's not the price that our sales team gives. So you have to reach out to our sales team to understand, what's the best price and everything, right? So the topic that we want to talk here is business premium plus Copilot business, right? So the minimum you have to purchase is the business premium plus Copilot is 10 seats, the minimum. So you can go up to 300 seats if you want to. So regular price is you can see $43 because business premium is $22 and then Copilot standalone is $21. So $43 is the regular price. But the promo price at the moment is $32, right? It's about $11 cheaper if you purchase through bundle, which is the Copilot and also Business Premium, right? So if you want to purchase Business Premium standalone, Copilot standalone, then it's the $18 per user per month at the moment. So all this promo, I believe so, ends at the end of March. So before end of March, if you can reach out to us, block the licenses and everything. I believe so. The price will be different. After March, the end of March, the price will be totally different because, and also Microsoft changing all the pricing. I believe so in June or July. So there'll be different pricing, different rates after that. So right now, there's a lot of promotion is going on at the moment when you bundle things up. So why did I highlight that green color is because that's where best value for security plus AI. So Microsoft Copilot, just a simple uh, thing I want to let you guys know. What Microsoft Copilot can do is uh, basically it can rewrite your Word document or give you a summary of your Word document, can prepare a quick slides for you, right? You just give inputs, it prepares the slides for you, it gives you different designs, right? Excel is also similarly, it finds some, it helps you to put in some Excel formulas. There's a lot of things that can be done, right? And Copilot web, you can use Copilot in the web as well. You can create your own agent, built-in agents, and a lot of things can be done, right? And also, if you were to go in advance of what Copilot can do, like for example, you want to create your own agent, but only your SharePoint data inside there. So when you go and search in Copilot, can you pull up this document A from this library? So it's just pull up all the information for you and everything. But then it comes with a proper security setup. So we need a lot of configuration need to do, because if not, everybody can actually access all the files. So that's not really feasible for you guys, right? It's not really compliance friendly, because certain people should not have access to folders, certain thing, block all those things. So that's a different story. But then now Business Premium and also Copilot bundling up together. So it's in the best value as well. So reach out to us, our VLAN sales team. So, or you can always email to us like at sales@vlan.asia, right? Reach out to our sales team, get the best ideas. You can set the call with them, explain what you are looking for, right? And we can actually join the call and give you the best value added services, right? Okay, so I believe so it's like about 11:40 or so. So basically these are the things that we wanted to share to you guys today, right? So if you guys have any questions, right, or you want to understand certain things, you can always drop in the chat area at the moment, or if there's any Q&A, so we will answer the Q&A session at the moment, right? All right. Okay, great. So let's just wait for a moment and look at the Q&A, if there's anything. All right. So, okay, there's few questions there. All right. So let's look at the Q&A session. All right. So anonymous user, 20 minutes ago. How does Business Premium help with zero trust in real life, not just on paper? So, all right. So how does zero trust works is something that I've explained in the slide number, I believe so. So let me just see. So yeah. All right. So basically, I've explained how does it zero trust works in the environment, in real life environment. So because yes, zero trust, we can talk about how it helps and everything. So obviously, the three key points, like I mentioned, identity and access, device security, and app and data protection. So Microsoft has given their own, I would say, um, tools that we can actually configure. So it's not on paper, like how zero trust works and everything. It's basically a policy that we can set up in order to achieve this zero trust model, right? So, so that's my answer. So let me just type it out as well. So the one that's an, an identity, right? So access and identity. So number two is basically So it's device security, right? So device security, and also app and data protection. So all these are the tools. So we are not just talking about some random, online based kind of thing. So these are the tools that actually Business Premium providing us to support the zero trust in real life. So yeah. So anonymous. Okay. So for companies already on business standard, at what point does it start to feel risky not being on Business Premium? All right. Okay. So at what point? So this is something I mentioned on the early stage and also at the end of my slides as well. So when I do the reality check, so I wanted you guys to see whether you guys are working remotely or whether your laptops are, going out of the office, connecting from different networks and everything, right? So that is the main point. So I would say because the moment you go out of your environment or because you might have your own security or firewall that is already set up in your company network. But then if let's say the laptop is going out of the firewall network or your office network using home network or most of the time the C levels they travel a lot, they might be using the public Wi-Fi and everything. So that's where all this bad things start to creep in. So that if you are actually on that scenario, like for example and then if let's say device are leaving office environment, like for example so this is right. So living environment. So this is one or two of things that to consider to go for Business Premium, right? And also, I would say to related to email, um, phishing emails that you receive, right? The amount of phishing emails that you receive, right? The number of uh, phishing emails received, right? So this is also one of the things that you can consider, right? All right. So, hi, Mr. Kishan. First time someone calling me Mr. Kishan. Thank you so much for that. So, from a security standpoint, what needs to be in place before an organization enable Copilot safely? Okay. So, this question is quite huge, right? Because in order to enroll or enable Copilot safely to your environment, right? So, basically, the first thing the minimum you need Business Premium. The minimum is Business Premium because you need to set up sensitive labeling. You need to set up, your information protection, your data loss prevention, that part. And then there's one more thing that we did not include in this slide because we not focused on Copilot, right? So I would say, number one, you need Business Premium. Number two, the main part that you require in order to enable Copilot safely is basically, we call it another standalone SKU, a license. So right now, I believe so that's also in promotion. Instead of $10, I think so it's in $5 at the moment. We call it N365 E5 compliance. So this license is something required, right? Right? Before we can actually enroll Copilot safely, right? So these are the minimum licenses, right? Required for us to start with the um, setup, I would say, right? All right. So, okay, so in real life, how long does it usually take for a company to roll out business premium smoothly without disrupting users? Okay, right. So, okay, so when we talk about how long does it take for us to smoothly enroll business premium, we need to explore the number of users first. So we need to explore, right, number of users, right? But then I would say, if let's say if we are talking about about 50, because it's an SME base, right? So if you're talking about 50, recently we did 80 users. So let's just use 80 as the number. 85 users. So round it out as 80 lah. So 80 users. The setup, the policy is and everything was set up beforehand itself before we go on site. So what happened is that for about 85 users, right? So minus the policy setup, it took about 3-4 days for us, like 2-3 days to set up all the backend policies and get things ready and everything. And when we go to the users, 85 users with I believe so, we did it with 4 manpower. So 4 people, right? So 4 engineers. I would say 4 engineers. We did it in 3 days, right? So 3 to 4 days, I would say, because there were people that did not come in and everything. So 85 users, 4 engineers, took about approximately 4 days for enrollment itself. So we go based on departments, right? So like I mentioned, it's about 15 minutes or 20 minutes per device. So so that's how we did it. So 4 days, and then together with the setup policies and everything. So it's about a week of project, a week or two, 2 weeks, I would say maximum, but within a week of project. But then, so that's the numbers that we are looking at lah, without any disruption. So so I would say just 4 engineers, 4 days. But if let's say it's about, like, let's say instead of 4 engineers, if less numbers like 2 engineers or what, maybe it takes multiple days, right? But then we are looking at somewhere around a week, right? So if a small business can only focus on a few security things. First, what would you personally prioritize to reduce risk quickly? Okay. All right. So if let's say you guys are looking at, for example, you are someone that everyone work in the office, the device is not going out, right? So I would say you just focus on um, first thing, the main focus I would suggest is Defender for Office 365. So this is my suggestion, the first thing. So this protects your emails and files, right? So this is the first layer I would suggest. So the second layer is for Defender for endpoint, right? So this is for your endpoint, which is your Microsoft Defender. Instead of antivirus, you have your own Microsoft Defender, right? So these are the two things I consider first, right? Before I move on to Intune, right? Because Intune is a large scale thing, right? So if you are a small company, you are just looking for a minimum protection and everything. So start with email protection first, right? So you start with email protection. So the least is Defender for Office 365. We have plan 1 and plan 2. You can purchase it as a add-ons to your business standard as well. So you don't have to go for business premium. You just have your business standard or business basic, and then you add on this Defender for Office 365 for your emails and file protection. So that's the first layer. So first, second, third, I already replied there, right? Okay. Where do organizations usually underestimate effort or cost when upgrading? So, okay. All right. So underestimating. So so that's where we talk about the cost versus risk. So they always underestimate from upgrading to business premium based on my experience when I talk. I mean, like we go and pitch to clients and everything with my sales team, right? So I joined the call as well to explain about the technical aspects of it. So the majority of answers that I get, they say it's too expensive, right, for business premium license. Or the second thing, they say that it's too expensive for the uh, implementation costs, right? But then when the risk happens, they don't look at the amount, right? So that's where they really underestimate because they don't really know what are the attacks actually been happening out there. So when we create awareness about what's happening out there, so they should be actually stop underestimating what could have happened. So yeah, so I would say lack of lack of um, lack of, instead of using knowledge, maybe I find it kind of rude. Understanding, I would say, a lack of understanding of real world attacks. So lack of understanding on that but portion that really actually making them underestimating the security or protection layers actually. So yeah, lack of understanding of real world attacks, right? Okay. So, Mr. Isley, okay, all right. So, what contractual guarantees do we have regarding data ownership? Can you confirm that our data is not used for training AI models without our explicit content? Okay, all right. So, there's thumbs up, there's up for this question. Okay. Most edge users will likely use Copilot for document screening. Yep. Okay, all right. Okay, so this question, I'm very fresh to it because last week with one of our client, when we talk about this co-pilot and everything, this was the question actually raised by them. So what is the, you know, um, baseline or they are not using our data to use training AI models. So um, the first thing is basically Microsoft compliance policy. So Microsoft have their own compliance policy that, agreed and we have in terms, right? So whereby they cannot use your SharePoint files or any documents that you have in the Microsoft tenant because right now, the moment you are in Microsoft environment, all the data is in the servers and everything on the cloud and everything. So, but then your tenant, your data. So that's what Microsoft strongly believes in. So your tenant, your data. So they can't even access it from the backend to delete it or anything. So that's why when we say that we want to restore it from Microsoft, even Microsoft can't help us to restore whatever you delete because they already set all the policies and this is the policy and beyond that policy, we can't do anything. We can't access anything. So that's what Microsoft says now, most of the time, right? So they also follow this compliance, right? So of course, we don't want any files, being used to training any AI models. That's something very uh, people curious to to understand how they are not using it and everything. So that's where the above question where I were mentioning that we need to include Microsoft 365 E5 compliance license as an add-on, right? So when we add that compliance license, it allows us to configure a lot of things including the access as well, right? So even your own people in the same tenant, their own staff cannot access the file. So when we can limit your own staff cannot access the file, so basically we are limiting anybody outside from accessing your files as well. So when we enroll the uh, Copilot into AI tools and everything, right? Your SharePoint into Copilot. So basically, it's your own agent. It lives inside your tenant. It's not outside the tenant. So, so this is where I can actually assure you right? So basically, Microsoft is not using your data to actually training any other AI models and everything. So it's in terms of compliance, lah, right? So so that's my answer for that. See, right? So I got a thumbs up for that. All right. So that's on that. So we have one more question. So Kalis, hi. If you have any questions, okay, all right. So okay, let me just go up. So there's new post. Okay, so Brandon. Okay, so there's few questions from Brandon Lim. So how the Intune and Defender features compatible with Apple devices? All right. Okay. So so last time the Intune and also Defender features was actually quite hard for us to do the configuration on Apple devices. But right now, basically Microsoft did a lot of changes, right? So Defenders and also Intune enrollment, yes, can be made for Apple devices. And also we have to technically from the back end, what we have to do is we have to set two different type of policy. One is for Windows, one is for Apple devices. So we have to set two different types of policies in order for us to enroll it to Apple devices. So if you ask me whether the features is compatible enough or not, yes, it is compatible, right? So yes, it is compatible for current updates, right? Because last time, yes, like when we initially enrolled Intune in our environment, like few years ago, like 4 years ago, we had issues for Apple products. So, but then after that, there were updates were coming in into Intune and everything. So Apple products are uh, good to go, right? Yes, it is compatible enough. Right now. Okay. So it is compatible enough right now. So we can always look for limitations, right, on iOS products, right? So limitations on the iOS devices, right? So okay, so that's on that. So what is the potential complication with Microsoft Defender and Apple? Okay, so that's Apple. Okay, so complications. To be honest, as for the Apple product, I've not explored anything on that. So if you ask me any complications for Defender and also Apple, then I would say it's like we have this rule with defenders. So not only in Apple product, even in Windows also the same rule, whereby we can only use one product at a time. So we cannot use multiple products. So if let's say it's either Windows Defender, I mean like Microsoft Defender or the Apple Exponent. So what Microsoft did is with the Defender tool, so when we install the package, right? So basically it gives us a package from the admin portal after we set up all the policy. It gives us a package to install to run in the device. So they have two set of packages. So one is for Windows, one is for iOS devices. I mean like for Apple devices. So we use the Apple devices package to install and run the Defender in Microsoft product. So basically they have the package running. So I would say there's no any complications or clash between those two products, because if there is any, they wouldn't even keep that package for us to install in Microsoft Defender portal. So yeah, but then that's in terms of my own understanding, but I've never explored like whether there's any deep complications between these two products or not. But basically I would say so far, based on what we enrolled for Mac users. So far, we don't see any Defender issues or antivirus scanning issues so far when we use Defender and enrolling into Intune. So yeah, so that's the answer for that question, Mr. Brandon. So okay, aside then the device compromise with shared scenario, Okay, most of the account compromise attack vector are from login password leak. Yeah. How the MFA account, MFA Microsoft Authenticator can protect us at to what extent? At to what extent? Okay. All right. So MFA, it's really crucial to um, our password leaks and everything, right? For example, when we have MFA, right? So the moment you sign in from a different location or different browser, different laptop, anywhere from a different environment, it will prompt for a MFA approval on your mobile device. So you get a notification. So when you get notification, you can actually see that if you are the one that's signing in. If you are not signing in, you definitely not gonna get that MFA, right? So that is something that to investigate whether somebody else trying to sign in. So whereby you can reach out to the IT person, you can ask them, can you check, is there any sign in activity happen in my email account? So they can check and see whether there's any sign in activity occurs or not and everything, right? So basically the moment you have MFA enabled, if your password is leaked or your password is compromised, basically the moment they sign in, you have to approve it. So to approve it, you need to know what's the number. So definitely you're not going to see the number because it's on the other person's device, right? Unless if let's say the compromise happened within your mobile device itself. So that is something subjective we have to explore further, because if let's say your device, you install some random APK tool, because some of the games you need to install the APK files and everything. So if you install those kind of things and everything, and your device, your phone got compromised, and if they gain access to your mobile phone, like without like silently gaining access to the mobile phone, so they can actually approve the MFA and everything. But then there's another layer that you must always enable when it comes to your mobile, which is the biometric. So when you install Microsoft Authenticator, it will ask you whether you want to allow your biometric, right, fingerprint or your Face ID for approval process as well. So what happens is that if you enable that, the moment someone keys in the number, the MFA number on the mobile, so basically this it goes to the second stage, which is your biometric, right? So your biometric, you have to be there physically. Nobody can do that remotely, right? Or silently. So that is the extent I would say it's protected with MFA. So yep. So I would say number one, MFA is protecting the password leak layer. So number two, if the mobile device is silently accessible, then basically you have your biometric protection, right? So, but then so far I've never heard of this part. But then when it comes to when you ask and to what extent, so this is the extent it can go when we have MFA, right? So and also the third one is basically sign in risk detection. So we can manually, from the admin side, we can remove any sign-in risk detection. So we can detect and we can actually block from whichever IP they are trying to sign in or anything. So all these things can happen when we have MFA enabled in our environment for email accounts. So yeah, so pretty much I've answered all the questions. So any more questions? Let's see if there's any more questions. Cool. Understand basically both might be able to coexist together. Yes. Yes, Brendan. Yes. All right. So, all right, thanks for the explanation, much appreciated. All right, thank you so much, Brandon, for engaging with me. Understood. Basically, assures the mobile device for the MFA is not compromised. Basically, even if attacker has login credential, they won't be able to log in. Yes, that's the whole idea of MFA. So the second layer protection. So thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you so much for engaging with me. It was nice with all your questions. So if there's any more questions, so please leave us the questions and we will get back to you guys. And thank you so much for attending this webinar. So I hopefully you guys gain something today. And if there's anything, always reach out to us. So once again, thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye bye.